This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Please remember to use my code NIGHT22 at checkout so that you can get a 5% discount. Before going into the video, please take a second to click that like button, and we're on the road to getting 9,000 subscribers to this channel, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for all of your support, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content I put out in this channel. In today's video, I'll be showcasing Roaring Moon EX from the Paradox Rift expansion set. Roaring Moon EX is an ancient Pokemon. It has two very powerful attacks. The first one is Frenzied Gouging. For 2 dark and 1 colorless energy, this attack will just instantly knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. However, this Pokemon will deal 200 damage to itself. And with just 230 HP, it will be left with just 30 HP going into your opponent's turn, making it very vulnerable to being knocked out as well. Its second attack is Calamity Storm. For 2 dark and 1 colorless energy, this attack deals 100 plus damage. However, you may also discard a Stadium in play, and if you do, this attack can deal 220 damage instead. Still a very powerful attack option without hurting yourself. You do always want to go second with this build because it is possible to take a huge knockout on your first turn going second. So here's what you do. First is to set up at least one Roaring Moon EX on your bench, and a Squawkabilly EX is very useful here too. It has the ability Squawk and Seize, which you can only use on your very first turn. You can discard your entire hand, then draw 6 cards. This is great for drawing extra cards, but also for discarding your basic energy cards. The discarded energy cards can then be accelerated using the Dark Patch. This allows you to accelerate a basic dark energy from the discard pile to one of your bench dark type Pokemon. And if you go second, you can use supporter cards during your turn, and this is where Professor Sada's Vitality comes in. It allows you to choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon in play, and then you may accelerate 1 basic energy from the discard pile to each of those ancient Pokemon. And of course, 1 energy attachment for your turn will be the 3rd energy you need to fully energize one of your Roaring Moon EX. Getting the right cards at the right time is crucial for this build, so we have other support Pokemon to help with that. This Mew, for example, has the Mysterious Tail ability, which allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, and if you see an item card there, you put it into your hand. Next is Mew EX. It has the ability Restart, which allows you to draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. And its Genome Hacking attack is also an option to copy an attack from your opponent's active Pokemon. And then there's Luminion B with the Luminous Sign ability. When you play it from your hand onto your bench, you can search your deck for a supporter card and put it into your hand. This is great for searching out Professor Sada's Vitality. Next is Radiant Greninja with the Concealed Cards ability. By discarding 1 energy card from your hand, you can draw 2 cards. But we also have access to water energies in this build so that we can use its Moonlight Shuriken attack. And finally, we also have 1 copy of Morpeko. It has the ability In a Hungry Hurry. If this Pokemon has no energy attached, it has no retreat cost. This is a great pivot option. But also its attack Energizer wheel can be helpful for dealing chip damage. For 2 dark energies, it deals 70 damage, after which you have to transfer 2 dark energies from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon, so you can use this to energize Roaring Moon EX's attack as well. As for the other cards worth noting, we have a full set of Earthen Vessel in this deck. By discarding 1 card from your hand, you can search your deck for up to 2 basic energies. Next is Energy Switch. This is great for allocating your energies where it's needed most. And I also have a full set of Trekking Shoes. You look at the top card of your deck. If you want, you can draw that card, but if not, discard it and then draw the next card instead. And we also have a full set of Cross Switchers. You do have to have 2 of these at the same time to use it. This will allow you to choose a Pokemon on both players' bench to put into their active spot. It's basically a combination of boss orders and a switch. And then we have Switch Cards, which is great for healing the Pokemon you switch from the active spot to the bench. And finally, for our Stadium, Pokestop is the best option here. This allows you to discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and if any of those are item cards, you put them from the discard pile into your hand. This is really great for drawing into your item cards. And it's worth noting that while the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule is available to add 60 HP to an ancient Pokemon, we're not utilizing that here because the main strategy for this build is to just be constantly aggressive and to take as many knockouts as soon as possible and get ahead in the price exchange against your opponent. Man, I finally got around to showcasing this beast, and yes, Roaring Moon EX is actually a really great card. With so many variations and combinations, I enjoyed playing this particular build the most because it's very fast and very aggressive. I really like it. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Roaring Moon EX. Alright, we got an extra card from my opponent's mulligan. And this is actually a mirror match. My opponent won the coin flip and they've decided to go second, which is the most optimal for any Roaring Moon EX build. We are going to start with a Mew in the active spot, and I'm going to just use this Pokestop. We did discard one Dark Energy, which is good. Let's use our Mysterious Tail ability, and we got a Battle VIP pass. Alright, so at least we can set up early on here with a Roaring Moon EX. And I think I'm going to go with Radiant Greninja because we have so many cards in our hand. New EX will not be useful right now to help us draw. And I think I'm going to use Earthen Vessel just so we can have those dark energies available to us either in the discard pile or in our hand. So I'll just get 2 of them. Use concealed cards to discard an energy. Again, that sets up for more dark patches for us to use later on. And we got a Morpeko. So without an energy, that can retreat for free. So it's a great pivot. And I'm just going to use this dark patch to start energizing my Pokemon. I can attach, I guess, to Morpeko for the meantime, because I can even knock out their active if they don't move it out of there. And I don't know if I should use Squawk ability. I think I will though, because with the cards that I have currently, it's not going to help me set up or even energize my attackers next turn. So I might have to just use it to draw more cards this turn and hopefully get better cards for our proceeding turn. So since we are going to just discard all of our cards in our hand, I might as well just use them all up. So I'm gonna use this Ultra Ball, and yeah, I'll just get a Roaring Moon EX because we're gonna be discarding all these cards in my hand anyways. And I think I'll just use Energy Switch. I'm just gonna focus on Morpeko for now, because if there is a chance that my opponent cannot energize a Roaring Moon EX next turn, we can use Morpeko to deal some chip damage. Alright, so with that Squawk and Seize, we got Trekking Shoes, Basic Energy. I guess I can discard that, draw 1 card, and I'm just going to end my turn. Alright, we got Professor Sada's Vitality. Going into our next turn, we even have Cross Switcher, which is great for pivoting and also bossing one of our opponent's benched Pokemon. So we are all set for the next turn, but we'll see how well my opponent sets up here. There's the Squawk ability EX, 2 Roaring Moon EX, Mew EX, and of course a Radiant Greninja on their bench. So being familiar with your opponent's strategy, of course, plays a big part in the outcome of any match, and of course it also guides you on what type of strategy you need to use to win against that match. And both of these builds, of course, is similar, very aggressive, just attacking and taking knockouts here and there. So depends on if my opponent can energize one of their Roaring Moon EX. They might not be able to use boss orders. Alright, they use Professor Sada's Vitality, so they can't boss any of our 2 prizers in our bench. So for the most part, they will be able to knock out maybe Mew, and they're only taking 1 prize for that. And what we're going to try and do is just get ahead in the prize exchange, build up the energy on one of our Roaring Moon EX, and then knock out their 2 prizer, and we'll be ahead in the prize exchange. So that's going to be our strategy. And they have 2 Mew EX in their build. What I like about this Roaring Moon EX, we don't use the Ancient Energy booster to increase our HP. This is more of a kamikaze, like YOLO type of strategy. Just keep attacking. You don't care if your Roaring Moon EX gets knocked out on your opponent's turn, but you just want that initial knockout as much as possible. So very, very aggressive, this one that I'm using. So the ones that use the energy capsule is a little bit more conservative. They're going to use an escape rope. Since most of my energies are in Morpeko, I'm just going to probably have to sacrifice my Radiant Greninja. As much as I hate to do it, I think that is the best option because everyone else I'll need. So One thing about this deck though is that it doesn't have a lot of recovery items. So when we lose Radiant Greninja, that's gonna be it. And they're just going to use the second attack while discarding the Stadium. They are able to deal 220 damage, knocking out our Radiant Greninja. So I'll just pivot back into Mew. Let's see what item card we can get from that. We got an Earthen Vessel, which is great. And thankfully we have Pokestop to help us to draw into more items. And we got 2 more Trekking Shoes. Alright. Let me use Mysterious Tail first. See what we get here. Dark Patch is actually really awesome. And Cross Switcher is great. So I can discard that. We got another Trekking Shoes. Alright. We got a lot of shoes available to us. Could just use up all of these. Dark Patch, definitely need that. And then 1 more Trekking Shoes. We can discard that. And an Energy Switch. Alright. This is actually looking really great. So I can use 2 Dark Patches. We have enough energies on our discard pile. In our discard pile. And then we can use Dark Patch. Energize 2 to our Roaring Moon EX. And then we can use Energy Switch. Cross Switcher. Well, we can use Professor Sada's Vitality as well, but we only have 1 energy in the discard pile. I could use up Earthen Vessel, I guess. And then use Ultra Ball to discard more energies, but I feel like Cross Switcher is very useful right now. So I'll just use 1 to energize. At least we can deal a knockout this turn. I'll have to use Frenzied Gouging to knock out this active. Go ahead and use Earthen Vessel and get these 2. I'll get 2 Dark Energies. Because Radiant Greninja is not as useful anymore because it's gone. So I'll put 1 on Mew. That way we can retreat it. And I'll just focus on my opponent's active Pokemon. And we're just going to use Frenzied Gouging to knock it out and get our first 2 prizes. Despite it having 290 HP, doesn't matter. We can just knock it out instantly, but it will put our Roaring Moon EX in danger of a knockout next turn. But that is okay because we are still ahead in the prize exchange. So we get 2 prizes this turn. My opponent only got 1 last turn. And we're still gonna be ahead. So let's get these 2. Roaring Moon EX and another Cross Switcher, alright. Alright, so we can set up another Roaring Moon EX. After the knockout this active, we can put more Peko in the active spot. Set up another Roaring Moon EX. Energize it. We have Professor Sada's Vitality. And once they knock out our active, we'll have those energies available to us to accelerate. So I think we are good to go. This is just a matter of whether or not we can energize our attackers constantly every turn. And yeah, just being able to successfully knock out a 2-prizer every turn. So my opponent has another Roaring Moon EX set up. Then with Mew EX having free retreats, they can easily just get it out of the active spot and continue to attack. So this is basically the nature of a mirror match between 2 Roaring Moon EX builds. It's just a matter of who gets the first knockout and gets ahead in the prize exchange. That's all it is. So we just 30 HP on our active. My opponent will get a knockout. They'll get 2 prizes for that. But that means they'll still have to knock out 2 more Pokemon after this. But for us, if we get a knockout this turn, we'll have to knock out 1 more after that. So again, we are ahead in the prize exchange, and as long as we can keep that up, we should be okay. Since I have Cross Switcher available to us, I mean, I could use more Morpeko to deal chip damage to my opponent's active. Set up my other Roaring Moon EX. We have one more Dark Patch available, supposedly. So I'm going to just get ahead here by using Professor Sada's Vitality. I could use Energy Switch to put one of those energies so we can still attack with Roaring Moon EX. You know what I could do though? Since I have Cross Switcher, I could knock out their Mew EX since it is weak to Dark. Right? And I don't have to use Frenzied Gouging to put those damage on my Roaring Moon EX. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think that is the most optimal choice. Right? That will preserve this Roaring Moon EX with energies on it, but once they use Frenzied Gouging, that's gonna put their Roaring Moon EX in danger of a knockout anyway. So I'll put one energy from Morpeko onto my active, and let's see here. I mean, even without a stadium, we are still dealing 200 damage, so we should be okay. And then I can get Luminian V to get Professor Sada's Vitality in case. And just thin out my deck, I guess. But we're just gonna use Calamity Storm to deal 200 damage against their Mew EX. And that's gonna get us 2 more prizes. Alright, we are looking good here. And another Dark Patch, that's our last one. Definitely gonna help us to energize our last Roaring Moon EX for the win. So again, if my opponent doesn't have Ancient Booster, Energy Capsule, or whatever, they do have it though. So that's gonna increase their active's HP. We will have to use Frenzied Gouging to knock out this Roaring Moon EX, but they will have to do the same, right? But we should be all set. We have Professor Sada's Vitality, Dark Patch, Attach for turn, and we should be able to attack with our last Roaring Moon EX to win this match. All we need to do is knock out a 2-prizer on our next turn, and we should have this. So there you have it. A very explosive. I guess it really depends on how you handle whether or not you go first or go second. But ideally, that's what you want. If you can get 2 prizes on your very first turn going second, that is the most ideal, basically, scenario. If you want to get ahead and really set up for your win. They are setting up another Roaring Moon EX, but again, that is going to be it. With 3 prizes remaining from my opponent's side, they'll need to still knock out 1 more Pokemon after this. But for us, all we need to do is knock out 1 more 2-prizer, and we will win this game. They could pivot into Morpeko maybe, deal some chip damage to our Roaring Moon EX, since we don't have any other way of getting their 2-prizer in from the bench. But yeah, they're just gonna use Frenzied Gouging, dealing 200 damage to themselves, instantly knocking out our Roaring Moon EX, getting them 2 prizes. But with our Morpeko, we can't knock out this active with Morpeko, so we will have to just end this with our Roaring Moon, our gold Roaring Moon EX, and we have boss orders even. But that's going to be game. We can retreat our Morpeko with that single energy, and then we're just going to use Frenzied Gouging to deal a knockout, instant knockout against my opponent's Roaring Moon EX, dealing 200 damage to ourselves. But we're gonna get our last 2 prizes for the win, and there you have it. And that's how you strategize against a mirror match with Roaring Moon EX. Very explosive, very deadly. Good game. Alright, going into our next match, we're gonna start this with a Radiant Greninja in the active spot and Roaring Moon EX on the bench. And again, you always want to start with Roaring Moon EX and keep it in the bench because you can't really use Dark Patch to energize in the active. And since my opponent won the coin flip, they've decided to go first, and that is actually okay with us. Again, Roaring Moon EX likes to go second because we can attack, even take an instant knockout on our very first turn, going second. So we're going against a Miraidon EX build. They also have Iron Hands EX. So we gotta be very careful with that, especially if they can energize that. They can easily knock out our Radiant Greninja, or even Morpeko or one of our 1-prizer and get 2 prizes instead. So we have to be very careful with that. But at least my opponent cannot attack on their very first turn, so we should be safe for now. Thankfully though, we do have Battle VIP Pass and we have access to Pokestop, so we might be able to actually attack on our very first turn. And for the most part, they are using mostly 2-prizers, so we could definitely get ahead in the price exchange here. And again, that is why I like this particular Roaring Moon EX build, because it's very aggressive. Alright, they're just gonna end their turn. We got basic energy from our top deck. We can set up our Pokestop, but for now, we're gonna use our Battle VIP Pass. And I think I'm gonna go for Squawkabilly EX for sure. And another Roaring Moon EX. Having 1 is good, but having 2 is better. At least 2 of them in your bench set up. That way you'll have a backup attacker once you've set up 1 to attack. I'll use Pokestop. We discarded 1 water energy, but got 2 earthen vessels, which is awesome. You can discard the dark energy here, get 2 more from our deck into our hand. And I mean, we could even use that to just attach for turn and use our concealed cards. Again, that's helping us to set up those energies so we can use Dark Patch when we get them. We got a Battle VIP Pass from that 2-draw with Radiant Greninja, which is pretty awesome. And I think I'm going to, well, we already have 2 Roaring Moons, so I'll go with Mew EX and Morpeko. So at least if we have less cards in our hand, Mew EX could definitely help out. And what I'm going to try and do is just focus on this Raikou V, because it can attack next turn for sure. And I'm going to pivot Morpeko in the active. Without any energies on it, it can retreat for free. So hopefully with Squawk and Seize, we can get Professor Sada's Vitality and another Dark Patch. We can attack and knock out this guy. And sure enough, there it is. Alright, cool. So we got our Dark Patch. We got Professor Sada's Vitality, and we have enough energies in our discard pile. We can use this water energy even here. And dark energy on the other Roaring Moon EX. We got 2 trekking shoes from the draw from Professor Sada. And yeah, Palpad is pretty important. So I'm going to keep that in my hand. And I think I will keep this as well going into my next turn. So we have a pretty good start. Again, this build is just very, very explosive, very aggressive. Going second, taking that 2-price knockout is awesome. And I can even just use Calamity Storm, discard this Stadium to deal 220 damage against this Raikou V, getting our first 2 prizes. And we don't have to deal damage to ourselves. Alright, so that is a pretty good start for sure. Now my opponent has to contend with my 230 HP Roaring Moon EX. You know, you've probably played with this type of build in the ladder so much, but you can understand why a lot of players use it. But I am liking this particular build with the cross switchers, and this one doesn't use the ancient booster energy capsule to increase HP. It just you just want to be very, very aggressive with this build and take as much knockouts as you can. And against single price builds, you can always just use Calamity Storm. Don't damage yourself and just take one prize at a time. Be patient with it, and you can also use Radiant Greninja to take multiple knockouts where you can, and maybe utilize Morpeko to deal that 70 chip damage. So there are ways around it to win with this Roaring Moon EX build. It is definitely a force to be reckoned with. So with no cards in their hand, they will use Mew EX to draw 3. And without any energies on their Pokemon to attack, we can take advantage of that and just take a bunch of knockouts. They are going to pivot into Mareep. They're just going to sacrifice a 1-prizer, hoping to, I guess, survive a few more turns here. But if we can get a boss orders or something, be nice if we can just end this quickly. But I'm gonna go for Morpeko. I think I could use Energy Switch and be able to just knock out this Mareep. If they don't want us to get 2 prizes, we're gonna take it slow as well. So I'm just gonna attack with Morpeko with Energizer Wheel. That deals 70 damage, and then we transfer 2 Dark Energies to one of our benched Pokemon, which I will just transfer to our Roaring Moon EX, and then we'll have another attacker next turn. So now my opponent will need a boss orders to target one of our Roaring Moon EX, but both of them are already pretty much well energized, and it doesn't matter which one they pick or whatever, we will still be able to attack on the preceding turn. So I think we have a pretty good hold on this matchup. We just need to knock out 2 more Pokemon, and with no energies available to my opponent, I think they're just gonna give up another prize, and if they pass this turn, that's it. We're gonna be way too ahead in the prize exchange, and they are not going to be able to win this match. Yeah, this Roaring Moon EX is just really explosive, very, very aggressive. There's an Iono, all right. We'll get 6, we'll get 3. And a Dark Patch, all right. We are looking good still. But yeah, against this Miraidon EX, we definitely had the advantage because of how fast we were able to set up. Can my opponent attack here? They'll only take 1 prize against our Morpeko, and then we'll take another 2 prizes once they attack. Alright, there's the scoop. Very good game. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.